Now it should be 7:40 p.m. in India. And today is 18th of July, 2026. Our weekly session number is 301. And the topic of discussion is all about communication. Communication with others, communication with self, communication with the divine. So in this particular topic, we'll go first, we'll go simplistic understanding or worldly understanding of communication, different types of communication, and the different dimensions of communication and what are the barriers in the communication. And there is something called non-verbal communication. And then we'll go into some advices given by the master. Today I will discuss about what Guruji, Dr. Premji Nirmal, he suggested his model of communication. And then there are 4 stages: contact, listen, respond, feedback. I will explain about that. Then we'll go into the different styles of communication with others, and then further with the communication with lower self, with ourself, like a pep talk or self-analysis. And then we'll go to the communication with our higher self. It is at the soul level. And a communication with our soul. It's awareness level. And finally, we discuss about communication, different techniques or communication with the divine. This is the communication with the higher dimensional entities or ascended masters. And so this is the so all about communication we'll discuss today. Somebody wants to join. All right. So first we'll start with the initial point that what is communication? Communication is a process that allows human beings to exchange ideas and information. As simple as that. So through the communication, we build bridges. Like bridge connects to different land masses. So it is like a bridge. So if you need to connect with someone, and then the communication, we build bridges. So even though here communication meant between human beings, but it's communication, as I mentioned, there are different types of communication. In the higher dimensional communication also, there is some communication with nature, communication with animals. Those things are also there. So they are of different dimension, so that is also possible. So that also we'll touch upon. But initial first part of our discussion, we'll discuss about day-to-day communication, what we need, whatever the type of communication we do, and how to communicate, and what are there are the communication experts, and there is a whole field of people take communication courses and all those kind of things. So initial discussion will be based on that, the practical level, that our communication, different tools of communication, and so this kind of thing. So then let us come to the what kind of communication. Now we'll talk about communication with other people. This is the initially all we discuss about the communication with other people, where experts say different types of communication, etc. Okay, so communication is just the way to connect with others and exchange ideas, informations, and feelings, or whatever. This exchange is communication. Okay, so let us now come to the different types of communication that we normally use. It is not exclusive list. There are other types of communications also, but in general, normally we use this kind of communication. First is that verbal communication, that we talk. Through the talking, we communicate with others. When we talk, the other person listen, and that after listening, they reply back and things like that. So very common. So we know that. First is verbal communication. Next is, second is about, it is a written communication, but we write something. So earlier days, that people used to write letters or something, whatever you write. So that is written communication, and we write letters and send maybe notices or something in writing, and people used to write us back, send another letter. And nowadays is almost, I think, abolished. But earlier there is something called postcard, and then inland letters, and then envelopes and things like that, and the different category, different prices. The postal department, and people used to write letters. Everything is most common form was the written communication. Anyway, so in the electronics era, that is being almost, lost its importance. Still there, but lost its importance. But that is the written communication. Next is telephonic communication. Telephonic communication is not new. Only earlier also it was there. In fact, when the written communication was, we used to write letters, etc. That time also telephonic communication was available, but those of you who are we have seen over the years, maybe 15 years, not 15, 50 years ago, that 40 years ago, the telephonic communication was quite costly. Like people used to book trunk call for the intercity, and then it is an international call. We have to wait hours, sometimes 1 or 2 days to get it connected, and the wire communication was there, so telephonic communication. So that's why even though telephonic communication was there that time, but still people used to, depend on the written communication, the letters they used to write and all those things. Anyway, technology developed, so communication also developed, communication technology or information technology. And someone you want to join? Yeah, okay. Yeah, they join. So that telecommunication has, last, 2-3 decades, there is a major transformation of the electronic communication. So we have that the email developed, and then from email that we have now developed the chat, instant messaging, SMSs, and things like that. So those things are the technology aided thing. And nowadays it is further developed into the video messages and even video conferencing, whatever currently we are doing now. Live video conferencing or meetings, we can hold, multiple people can join together and we can communicate. Whatever earlier was not that easily possible, but nowadays it is in everybody's mobile phone, it is there, so you can connect with anyone. With just a click of few buttons, you can connect with someone, another country, another part of the world, and live. You can discuss video calling, video discussion, multiple people. These are all possible. So that is video. All is that is so far the latest. And other than that, anyway, this last 3 points what we discussed is a technology-based: telephonic, email, chat, instant messaging, then video calling, and all those kind of things. But we started with something: verbal communication, written communication, and then comes it is. By the way, just I'm getting some messages to inform you. See, earlier. What used to happen is we used to write letters, like when you hold some pen or something, you hold it like this, right? And then write. So all 5 fingers are together. These 5 fingers, as you are aware, that these are representing Pancha Mahabhuta. This thumb is fire, this is air, this is space, and this is earth, and this is water, right? This is the fine. So when you write something, which is your feelings or your ideas and all, you write something on a piece of paper with a pen or pencil, you hold it like that, then all this Pancha Mahabhuta, that all 5 elements are used to do that. However, so when we go into the technology, yes, it is make it faster, it is easier, just to type something, but I don't think we use all 5 fingers during typing, hardly 1 or 2 maximum. So like we punch it like that. So in this case, only 1 element has been used, not 5. That is the reason, the effectiveness of, I will come to that non-verbal, and next one is energetic communication. So the energy element in the communication in nowadays is missing. That's why. So visually, if we communicate the verbally, that one dimension is added, so that we can check the gestures and feelings. So that's there. But still, as this kind of communication, there are some factors were missing. But earlier, this written communication has a greater appeal. Why? Because of this reason. Because of that, it is done with this all 5 fingers, the Pancha Mahabhuta, what we are made of. We are made of 5 elements. So those are used, and that was one of the reason it was been so like having a different kind of meaning and value into that one. Even though the length and quantity has increased, but the value has decreased. Yeah. All right. So next to, as I just mentioned, there is something called non-verbal communication. Non-verbal gestures and the facial expression or hand gestures. So these are the kind of things which is non-verbal. So like we say yes and there's no, all those kind of things. And these are the non-verbal communications. So when we communicate with this, it's a thumbs up, it's good, and no, not good, and whatever. So a lot of gestures has been developed. There is a non-verbal communication has been developed through these gestures and other things, or expressions, facial expression. So those are also the way of communicating. It is not necessary all the time we use our verbal communication. And the last one is energetic communication. Means this particular area is not very well known to people, but they do play a huge role. Particularly in the spiritual domain, when we go higher into understanding and awareness, then most of those the communications, we give importance to energy communication. Energy communication, you can just let me give you a few examples so that you understand. It works in the background. There is no content. Like, it is not verbal, obviously not written, obviously not, chatting or video calling or those kinds of things are not there. And even there is no gesture. Yeah. So there is no such thing. This thing, or fine, nothing, no gesture, but still there is some kind of communication, non-visual communication, non-physical communication, you can say, energetic communication. So just to understand that, it is like in common terminology, it is also referred to as a vibe. You take the vibe of the people. Maybe you went to a gathering, not all the people will give you same vibe. I mean, some of them will look like, appear to be, you feel, there is no apparent reason or logic. You feel that somebody is approachable, they are nice people. They have not talked anything, neither they gesture anything, or you don't know them before. And some people you will not find comfortable in communicating or starting a so-called discussion or meeting, or you don't practically like that kind of. These decisions are taken based on the energy communication. Like you are taking the vibe of the people without saying a single word. So those things are there. I'm sure you felt sometime you go to some new place and say staying in a hotel, say, and say hotel has four, like what is called the service boys. They give food and serve to a room or give these things or carry luggage, whatever. Some of those, those kind of, the room boys, you feel that is okay, and you whatever they do, say you appreciate or maybe give good tips. Some of them you don't like at all. लगता है थोड़ा इसको गाली देके बोला इधर आ बड़ा किधर. Your behavior changes. Why is that? Because you never met those boys earlier. They are doing their job. But some boys you feel that they're good, they're okay. You reward them, and something you're feeling like I should scold them. For minor mistakes you maybe feeling irritated and things like that. So why is that? No, those are basically your energy communication. This energy communications is you take the vibe, and that vibes gives you automatic response, but logically you also don't understand why I'm behaving that way. If you think about it logically, there is no sense. Why should I unnecessarily? They met for the first time. Why should I behaving rudely to that particular person? Yeah, same thing. Yeah, those are kind of thing like a energetic communication. So those energy communications also play a role. So higher and higher you go into your understanding of communication, then it is also the energy communication that takes a huge role and part into it. These are the non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is gestures, but even there is no gesture, still there will be some communication going on. Those are the energy communications. Yeah. So this is what we need to understand, because most of the time our decision about one person we met for the first time, we take a decision based or our reaction, how we respond, or at all we start any communication or not, already decided by the energy communication. So we don't feel like equally talking to everybody, not necessarily. We have a pick and choose, and that pick and choose part is been governed by this kind of energy communication, or the vibe, so-called. So we understand the vibe. Our logically it doesn't come through your thinking mind. It is just energetically you feel comfortable or non-comfortable, or animosity also sometimes, or feel angry unnecessarily. There is no apparent reason, but it happened because we picked up that energy of that particular person. All right. So now go to the next. Next is the major dimension of communication. What are the different dimensions in a communication? So that we need to understand. So different dimensions. So I'm not talking the higher dimension, lower dimension. It's not about that. You can say the different facets of communication. Yeah. So it is not about the height and low dimension. So maybe the dimension. Let me not use it here so that we get confused with higher dimension, lower dimension. These are different aspects of communication. Okay, what are the different aspects, important aspects involved into any communication? So let us understand that first. First is the content. Content, it's important. It is basically what type of things are communicated. What is the what that message carries, or what that verbal thing carries, what is there in it. If it is a word, what kind of words are being used, what kind of sentences has been used. So these are the kind of thing it is about that content. So it is whether it is a short, it is a longer, or it is like a continuing back and forth. It is all about this aspect of the content of the communication. Next is the source. It is content, that communication by whom from where it is coming. That is a source of communication. And next is the form. For which form? We have already discussed about that different types of forms, like different types of communication, verbal, written, and electronic messaging, video calling. So, or even energy. So these are the different forms of communication. So first is the content, then is the source, from where it is coming, and form, like in which form, which media it is. Media will come next. It is a verbal, visual, or which form it is written, which form it is. That is next aspect. Fourth aspect is through which medium, which channel. Is it a direct, we are face to face, or we are distant? Then it is used like it is telephonic conversation. So there is a telephonic medium, or it is a video calling. So it is a visual medium, even though from distance, and things like that. Yeah. So next is the channel through which medium this communication is being established. Next is obviously the destination of the receiver, to whom it is being sent, or it is meant for whom. So I think somebody wants to join. Yeah. So that is also important. Sixth point is the purpose. What kind of results expected? What is the purpose of this communication? It is just conveying some information, or it is asking a question, or it is an advice given, or it is like a testing our reactions, or the purpose is maybe the manipulating someone, or making somebody scared, or whatever. There can be hundreds of purposes with the purpose of the communication. But next point is purpose of the communication, and the seventh and last point is the context. It is in which context it has been said. Same word, same way of communication, same people, but in the different places, the context changes. So context changes, then all other things are affected. Well, let me give you some example to understand that. So suppose maybe some son is going out of the house, and father is telling where you are going. Yeah. So there is one context. And you met with another person in the airport, and you are asking that person where you are going. The question is same, context are different. Okay. So that kind of thing. So it is the context also matters, that in all these things, all kind of communications. So this is a major aspects of communication. I'm intentionally not using dimensions. So these are the different aspects of communication. So I repeat, content, that is what type of things are communicated, source, by whom, from where it is, and in form, in which form, which is the mode of communication, then channel, through which medium it is being communicated, then the destination or receiver, to whom the communication is meant for, then the purpose, that what is the reason for that particular communication, and the last point is the context. The context, like a sthan, kal, patra, this makes the context different in the communication. All right. Okay, I like to share something, like the Professor Albert Mehrabian's research data from silent messages. And then I will also give some discussion of the Guruji Prem Nirmalji's the message on that as well. So let me share. Let me share the slide. There are 2 slides. Let me share them. You can see my screen. Somebody can show me thumbs up. Okay, yeah. All right. So here you see that there is a scientist, and just we touch upon that. We'll not go too much into detail of this. So the Professor Albert Mehrabian's the research. His book name is Silent Messages. It is a famous book done by the communication researchers. Yeah. So they refer to this book, the words, voice, and gestures. The 3 parts he explained. You see the pie chart there. 7% is given to the words, basically the content. What are the words being used? Only 7% importance. Like communication means how it is received by others. So this particular thing, the communicating with others. So when we communicate, the content is only 7%, and then our words used only 7%. The tone of voice is 38%, as per his research. The way it is said, that makes the difference. Same word, rudely said, that impact, and very critical information or very negative information, but very mildly put, that is makes all the difference, the tone of the voice. And you can see that the people who are into some kind of telemarketing and other things, they are very good at this kind of tone of voice, make you feel important, make you feel valued, and all those kind of things. Their tonal is a very polite and like you are the greatest person, and if you kindly approve it, and it is just for your consideration, if you allow, and all these kind of words have been used. Words are not important, but tonal quality, that makes the difference. See, maybe somebody has been fired from a job, but the way it is conveyed makes all the difference. Yeah. So maybe sometimes you are fired because of XYZ reason and no longer required, and this is impact of that. And if the boss calls and say that, look, there are some reorganization going on and you are very much valued, but because of the company reasons, we have to reduce the manpower, so we have to, no other option than to let you go. And we wish all the best for you in the future and for other things. Anything you needed, any reference, anything, you let us know. We'll help you to do that. Same thing. Both cases, the person is fired. But the way you have delivered that message makes all the difference. So the impact is, even though the content is same in both cases, but the way it delivers, the tone of voice, that makes it different. And this tone of voice also become one of the major reason in all our relationships as well. Yeah. Some say relatives and all we don't like because of their delivery, harsh voice. Yeah. But same thing is same words spoken by general, normal words spoken by another relative. The tonal quality is very mild and very loving. So you like to hear, keep relationship with the other member, not the member who is a very harsh, straightforward, straight cut, like communication styles. We don't like, yeah. And the 55% Professor Albert is giving to the body language. Yeah. So what is the body language? It is thing like this and all. There is a professionally, people are taught to use the body language to your favor. How you put your head, where you keep your hands, whether you say the same thing by hand like this, and same thing like, like very bend way, it makes all the difference. Yeah. And once Guruji was sharing, Prem Nirmalji, he was sharing one marriage has broken, just because that the wife was having a habit of telling everything by finger like this. As simple as that. When you will go to the market, when you will bring these things. This the husband take is very offensive, but this one and that break their marriages. Simple thing, a gesture. Just simple one finger gesture, even it can break the marriages. See, it is so serious like that. So where we put our head, where we look, how we look, how much we bend or keep straight, or what is our facial expressions, and where we put our hands, So that make it acceptable or offensive. Anyway, so as per his research, that 55% is the body language. So words are least important. Tonal qualities next are impact and your body language. Of course, they're talking about either video call or in face to face. But body language matters. Even if you don't say anything, but you or say only 2 words. So simply how you are maybe entering into somebody's room, so your body language, or you say, may I come in? But your body language makes all the difference whether you are welcome or not welcome. Anyway, so those are the important. This is about, I'm talking about the research. And then let me go to the next slide of Guruji. You can see the slide changed. Okay. Yeah, this particular slide I have taken from the Guruji's presentation. That energy communication about. You can see the first half is 7% words and 18% voice, 25% gestures. The whole pie of Professor Albert Singh in Guruji's own research, it come only 50% of all those things. So he has reallocated words remain 7%, but the voice and gestures 18 and 25%. So it is divided into this category, and 50% is energy communication, the vibe. What are the kind of vibes you are giving? That kind of thing, that 50% is the energy communication. So that much important it is. Means non-verbal communication, even whatever is not seen, like a gesture, you can see, but energy communication you cannot see. So that takes about the 50% of the communication. So it is a important findings that we need to, be aware of. Like we may, so that is the whole basis of communication. So what kind of energy we are emitting while communicating with anyone else? That is the main reason what we need to basically correct our energy system or vibrational level. We know about PVF, and every time most of the more than 95%, if not all, cases does not go as per our intention because of this energy communication. Other people take wrong vibe. We didn't mean it, but they take the vibe. So what is the reason for that? Because some kind of negativity, maybe we are giving that vibe. So that's why other people are getting it. I have got, many of the cases I can get different people or our members, even non-members, they contact me for asking for something. One of the persons is saying that wherever I go, people always treat me badly. It is not about known people like a family, friends, and all those things. If I go visit a shop also, the shopkeeper also doesn't behave with me properly. Okay. See, because obviously shopkeeper There is no personal enmity with the shopkeeper, but when shopkeeper has interest to sell something, but why the shopkeeper also will misbehave? So shopkeeper or taxi driver or all, they all misbehave unnecessarily. Then this kind of reason basically is that your energy communication is negative. Like you giving a negative vibe, even to unknown people. So root cause is the energy communication unless until we correct our vibrational thing. It is not about you didn't say any wrong thing and you didn't, behave badly. You are not angry and still why? This is why. Okay. So then how to, so-called correct that? You correct your vibration, things will be fine. How to correct the vibration? Very simple. Raise your PEVF. Wherever you are, you raise that. We have that particular, the PEVF model. I think you are aware of our PEVF model. Again, let me show it once again so that you remember. Okay, let me share our page just for to give reminding you. 1 second. Okay, you can see that picture. Okay, good. I shared with you earlier also. I think by now you know by heart, but still I'm telling 250 is a neutrality. Yeah. So, and these are the vibration. Anything we are below 250, those are all negative. So if we are vibrating any of, there are some characteristic given, but basically it is lower vibration. So this particular thing, lower we are, we emit that kind of negative vibes that comes from PEVF, our personal energetic vibrational frequency, PEVF. Or it is also known as cellular vibrancy. Our cells, body cells, what they automatically emit that vibration. And how to correct it, or technically speaking, how to increase it. The technique what we received from Babaji is 108 stomach breathing. I think that I teach everyone comes in interested in spirituality, learn about meditation, kriya, or even they don't want to learn all those things, but still I recommend this 108 stomach breathing, because wherever you are, even if you are in negative territory, at least you should move in the positive direction. If you do daily, it is like a top up, like it's like a saucer or a bowl, you put some water, so it will keep evaporating. So there will be a tendency that your frequency will be down because of external situations, your mood, your different things to events and all those kind of things. So if you do daily, then you'll keep top up, and when a certain stage will come, will keep increasing. And this way you can go even up to love and above, spiritual path, enlightenment and above. That's all possible. The masters, they had same frequency, but the high level. 700 is enlightenment. By the way, 700 is a sustained enlightenment. Means all of us, we can have some experience of enlightenment at the time of, say, 6th step of our meditations. We touch upon that and come back, because our own inherent, maybe we are somewhere in the middle. But those people who continuously keep their vibrations high, then more than 700, those are called sustained enlightenment. And it is not a temporary experience of enlightenment. It is a sustained level. Higher the level, the masters, they keep higher and higher. The more some siddhis come with it, more like psychic abilities, extra human abilities, they come. And of course, higher there is no limit. So in this particular cone, you see the lowermost point is called alpha point. It is an imaginary point. Means nobody can have the vibration 0, not possible. So it is like a absolute temperature 0, not possible, something of that nature. And ultimate consciousness, universal consciousness, it is an infinite range. That is also cannot be touched. So all of us are in between. And 250 is a neutrality. Below 250 is negative. Above 250 is positive vibration. So basically what I'm saying is, technically, if we just summarize, if you are vibrating more than 250, your vibes will be positive. People will not treat you badly and all those kind of things. The energy communication will be positive. And if you go 500 plus, it will be loving. People will feel love. No matter whether you say anything, interact anything, or say, I love you, no need at all. They all automatically feel that. Everybody has got a receiver. They can feel. They cannot explain maybe. That's possible. They don't know why, but they can still feel it. Yeah. So if you are 500 plus, if you are vibrating, then it will be very loving. People will, even this kind of, energy communication happens to like a children, to animal, to even the plants, they get that. So all those things happening because they pick up that energy communication happens without saying a single word. I will just, on this topic, let me share my, personal experience. Let me see if I can get those members. Shupriya, you are here? Shupriya? I think I saw her joining, but anyway. What about Shraddhanjali?
Yes, Guruji, I'm there.
Okay. Okay, let me give you example, if I may. Your youngest son.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was so much in, just I took him once and, in my lap and around. And he is not willing to, going away from me. Even you remember when I came upstairs here for the next, that day we started little late and you were there in our ground floor. So what your youngest son was telling?
I think he was asking about you only. Yes.
So maybe you were asking about later on. My wife was telling that all the time he is talking about you and want to meet Guruji.
Yes, even now it is the same. Every day, I mean, if I take the call from downstairs, he's always like, he would want to come and say a hello to you. Okay. It's always the same. Yes.
Right. So what is his age now?
Now he's 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
But when you came, he was like 2, close to 2. Yes.
All right. So when when I visited your place, right?
Yes.
So that, yeah. Okay. So children, they pick up very, very, this kind of vibes because they are pure mind. So that is, they're liking somebody and I'm not of his age that he will like because he wants to play or something. But why, they get because of this, because of they take the vibes, that vibration, the loving vibration they pick up. Even adults, they may not get it, but children, they get it very well. So they can easily understand that. Even they cannot explain why, but still they are looking for it and all this thing. I'm just giving, his example. Thank you, Shraddhanjali, just to, sharing that. So this is, I'm claiming, I'm not saying because coming from ego, I'm not saying I'm great. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving example. That's how the energetic communication works. And Supriya, I was, asking for her. It is about, I think she shared about in these things in the group. In Bangalore, her house, she has a cat. That cat also never go to anybody else, and the cat comes and roams around me, and then come to my lap. So they all surprised. Supriya and her family members surprised that this the cat, she never goes to anybody. They run away from any visitor comes into the house. But they were surprised. How come you just without any complaint come and comfortably sitting here? So all those things are there. Anyway, so this is a very common thing. It is not about anything abnormal. It is just because you have vibrating 500 plus, that all this animals, they get that. They get it much, much better than human being. So, and even the children also, they pick up those kinds of energy very well. So, and they become so sensitive from NJ to some people, they don't like to go, and they start crying if anybody attempted to come in near them, because of that, because of the energy communication. All right, okay, let's go to them. Let's move on. Okay. So next is about that the barriers of communication. So let us discuss about this. So what are the barriers of communication? Anything that prevents understanding of the message is a barrier to communication. So there's a few things listed here. What are those? One is culture, background, and bias. If I am coming from a certain culture and and another culture, their decorum is different, the culture can be a barrier, because every culture, they have got some of the thing acceptable, some of the things not acceptable. So see, initially I had having difficulty when I came out of came out of India and came to the Middle East for the first time in 1996. So they calling even that boss maybe 50 years old and the newly joined maybe in late 20s, they're calling by name. So, hi Mike, hi John, and all these things. So initially a little bit, because coming from the Indian background, and we give some respect, in Bengal at least we have to say that Da means the elder brother. And so we don't habituated in the family on calling somebody elder than us by name. So there's something, at least some kind of things given, but it is a cultural thing. Everything is just, they call it by first name, no matter what their age, background, which level status into the office, it doesn't matter. So this kind of things, even that maybe some tea boy in the office comes and asks me, Rajdeep, you want some tea? What the hell? You should. Oh, he was calling my name. So initially there was some little shock because we are not habituated in this kind of things. But there's nothing wrong. They didn't mean anything to dishonor you or something like that. It is the culture. So you use that thing. So, but it can be see, somebody just called you by your name, but you get hurt because your cultural background is different, and the other person, their cultural background is different, the social background is different. They didn't mean any harm, but you felt hurt, that possible. This is all there. So this is one of the barrier to the communications. So the culture, background, or even bias, so even maybe we have some idea that a particular community, if I meet them, they will behave like that, but it doesn't happen because I am biased. I feel that it will be like that. So that can be a barrier to the communication. So it's my background, even both the parties' background, that matters. Next barrier to communication is a noise. So if if the environment is not conducive of communication, it is better to avoid communication or take the communication some place where there is no noise. So noise can be different sounds or very frequent obstruction by somebody and all those kind of things. Means I cannot just communicate with somebody in the in the middle of a railway station that every other minute some train comes, a lot of people goes from there, so it will be obstructed, of course. So this kind of thing. So that also it matters, so that we can, if the noise is there, too much loud noise, or somebody is playing music very loudly and I wanted to say something, I have to shout, and that communication will not take place. And the third one is a little subtle, but it also affects self-focus. If the communication involves too much of me, mine, and self-projection, basically ego projection, so then it spoils the communication. So sometimes unknowingly we do this, too much self-centered communication. I insist about that. We'll go into the communication style later, then you will understand that what they call it, what is the nature of communication. But the main, culprit is our ego. Any communication, if it is too much of I is involved, then it ruins the communication. It does not matter whether the person meant it or they don't mean it to project themselves. But if it apparent from there what the content and what the body language and whatever the things they're projecting their upmanship, that ruins the communication. Nobody likes that kind of thing. One-upmanship type of thing. I'm greatest, I'm better. I have a bigger thing, bigger car, bigger house, great locality, great much, I'm the more money and more these things. And my children all study in the top class institutions, world reputed ones, and wherever I go to eat, it must be the best in the town, and all this. These are all the projections of the ego. Nothing wrong in having that kind of going there and having food. Nothing wrong in that. But boasting about it, that makes the communication like other people feel inferior in front of you, and that ruins the communication. That's my point. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. The context matters. Sthan, kal, patra matters. If the discussion is about that, you bring the topic, it's okay. But if it is from anywhere you bring it just to project who you are and all, then ruins it. And let me tell you one thing. Like from my experience, I have seen, if any communication coming out from you, coming from your ego, when ego speaks, other ego responds. Always. If knowingly, unknowingly, something you communicating, which coming from your ego, the other's ego will get hurt. And that ego will rise, and that ego will, who do you think you are? This type of thing, situation creates. Then two ego fights. So if I saying something which ego is already filtered out, then other ego will not feel challenged. So it response I will get not from the ego, maybe the genuine response. So, but this egoistic approach, or even unknowingly, I'm saying some people, they do, it is their habit pattern. Themselves, they don't know they're doing it. But that may be one of the reasons they are not successful in any communication. Because of unnecessarily projecting the I'm better kind of stuff, which is basically, obviously it is egocentric. Those who become aware, they become spiritually aware, and their ego is annihilated. Like through spiritual practice or divine blessings, ego is not come into the play. always they sound very polite because their the I am upmanship is gone. There is no source from where these kind of things are coming. Even words, it is all like like they don't forget about I upmanship. They feel that they are the servants. They are serving whatever said divine causes. They are just a servant. They are serving, and it reflects into their approach, their communication style, their way, and all those kind of things. Unnecessarily, they don't give any lecture. Yeah, means anything. Lot of knowledge can be shared without lecturing. So just it is a reference. It is just a presented other party to take it or leave it. There is no insistence. There is no pushing. There is no claiming that it is the best thing. So, but in these things, actual message in passed on because the people who are receiving is their ego does not raise and come into the picture. That's why they're able to receive well, appreciate well. And that is seen, that the communication becomes successful into doing that. Yeah. All right. So I hope you understand. Too much of me, mine, this, that, and what I have, and I'm great. So that is one of the barrier of the communication. Perception with preconceived notions. So, see, if I'm already biased with, like some previous information, and then it will break my communication. Suppose I'm going to meet with some person, and some of the friend told me, "Oh, you're going to meet with that person. He is like he was jailed once, and he has been found corrupted, and police took him into jail, and there is a lot of criminal record and all those things." So when I will go meet with that person, my posture will be defensive, and I'll be very cautious the way what kind of communication. Maybe I have just given all false information. It is not the truth, maybe, because somebody else that friend wants to manipulate me so that our meeting is not successful. So they give all that kind of background, and then I start communicating. So because I'm already biased with this information. This is a very common phenomenon, and all of us, there is in a family level, social level, there is a lot of things like a gossiping and backbiting and things like that. So we are giving many things about background of somebody, which most of them may not be true, and nobody checks that whether it's true or not, but that forms a bias. And when we go into that kind of bias and try to interact with that person, our communication will fail, or at least it will be much below its potential, because we have not opened up, because I am biased. I have some idea about that particular person. Preconceived notion that ruins that communication, and even going further onto that. So that is also one of the barrier of communication. Then environmental, so the kind of environment we are in, that also barrier to the community. It should be conducive environment to talk or to exchange ideas and all those kind of things. The environment should be good. Like, we cannot express something in an adverse environment. I cannot go to a market and explain about the scientific theory to another person in the middle of a fish market. Yeah, my environment is not good. That is not conducive to explain this kind of scientific things. Yeah, as simple as that. Environment matters. So it is our duty to choose a right environment. If it is not good, shift it or defer it. But environment matters. Not everywhere it is, and even the people who doesn't have the sense of environment and appropriateness, people get irritated very easily. So they got unnecessarily, they think what wrong I have done. Nothing wrong, only the environment is not correct, not conducive for that particular topic, that's all. Okay? So then we have to be careful about that. We have to choose environment, or if it is a temporary environment, we have to let it go, and then we have to do certain things. Like suppose you wanted to go and sit down in a park, but that day it is heavily raining. So you're going to the park, the decision need to be changed, right? Because that environment is not conducive for roam around in a park, or maybe jogging in a park. Maybe the rain has environment for that. So this kind of thing, that is a sense of appropriateness. You have to take that environment into consideration. If the environment is not conducive, that communication, it will create a barrier to that communication. All right, so, and the next point is about stress. So it is your own mental condition and stress level that also affect the communication. If you are not in a relaxed mood or mind, or physically exhausted, then better not to communicate that time. Because our physical condition is also an important factor for this communication. If our physically we are discomforted or stressed or under tension or something, it will ruin our communication. So we may choose to first we relax ourselves, be calm, and then you start talking. So anybody is, like stressed or excited, they ruin the communication. Too much of high volume or too much of excessive emotion, this ruins the communication. How do you feel like communicating with, somebody that every other thinks they're crying and these things, and it ruins the communication. First you center means calm down, means maybe the issue is such that it is a sad issue, but first before you communicate, take control of your emotion, and then you start. Your own emotional and physical condition also a barrier to communication. Also, we can make them conducive of the communication. If we are making our mind calm physically, we are not giving any kind of gesture, any kind of things, or something which will ruin communication. So what kind of, that's for fun I'm saying, what kind of gesture can ruin communication? See, suppose you are talking and everything, like habitually you're saying every other word. These things, if you are habituated in giving this kind of just gestures, people on the other side, they get fed up with you. Yeah, this kind of stuff. Yeah. So even it is maybe normal for somebody to do this kind of gestures, but this is the barrier to the communication. So we have to be careful. So, and minimize as far as possible. So sometimes we cannot control 100%, but if you do have this kind of habits or something, it ruins, it becomes barrier to your communication. So you have to be careful, be aware. So our spiritual policy is, means when you go higher into vibration and the spiritual level, tonal quality changes. So it takes care of that in the Guruji's thing, that 25%. And your energy, vibration is, if it is higher than 500, love and above, then those 50% which changes. So rest having your gesture, so, and your content is very 7%, so it really does not matter. And your tonal quality changes because you don't put ego into it. So that's why the tonal quality changes. That's why the value increases. That's why you'll be able to communicate to the maximum level, because the other party understood it is not your self-interest, not it is these things. And to be honest, you need not to fake it to make look good. Automatically it will happen, because inherently your vibration, and the source from where these things are coming, these are pure source. And added with your own compassion or loving way presented. So it is, it will obviously will get the highest level of acceptance of the others who are listening. Okay, some people may not listen because of their own reason. That's fine. It is not that they have to appreciate. No one is, they are expecting any kind of appreciation or something, but the purpose of communication, I'm saying, because those barriers are removed from the source. So they need not to be so-called careful about it. It has become a part of their nature. They become automatically, they behave like that, they communicate like that, and things are there. So anyway, so this is the barriers of the communication. Okay, so now let me go back to what are the topic given. Barriers of communication, non-verbal communication. Okay, let me talk about a little bit about non-verbal communication. So what are the non-verbal communications? Just to few what you should be careful about. So because one is energetic, I told you about the PVF. Now this I'm talking non-verbal communications, that is what we should be aware of. We are normally saying to have a successful communication, you have to be alert and aware. So alert is fine. Alertness is that I am fully into the communication. I'm not doing something and try to communicate something. Then I'm not, alert. I'm not giving my 100% into the communication. Yeah, that must be avoided. But the non-verbal communications, what others are getting it. What are those? So few of them things listed. So what we have to be aware of, in the communication, we need this to make a successful communication. What are those? These are the topics what normally the communication experts, they teach you, how to do it. Anyway, let me just mention few things here. One is eye contact. For any successful communication, you have to make eye contact. If you don't like communicating with somebody, they're hiding their eyes from you. It looks very fishy, or sounds, it is, not sound, it appears to be that you are hiding something. So that gives a wrong impression. So that is about eye contact, that is important. Then facial expression. So if I like to communicate successfully, facial expression should be, it should not be blunt, it should not be rough. You should not unnecessarily, face should not be bent, something like that. But little bit of smiling, gestures, facial expression should be kept. And then it also, next is gestures. Your gestures also, some of the gestures are automatic, you cannot do much. But if some gestures are like a bit overboard, then you need to take control of those things. Because it may be too much of moving your hands or too much of moving your head, and all the time you do this. This does not give a very good impression about whatever you are communicating. So, and the root cause of this kind of gesture is so many things are running through your mind. If you calm down your mind, the gestures will also reduce. That is also the truth. However, but if you do have this kind of, gestures, which will be ruin your communication. And the directly opposite side, if you stone-faced and all the time talking this, and there, okay, how are you going here? It's all right. Okay, thank you. This kind of heartless communication means no gesture is also not good at all. Yeah. So if you're like a stone faced and there is no expression, other party feels like it is being ignored or something wrong in you. And if that feeling they got it, your communication will also ruin. So, because like too much of is not good, and absolutely, no expression, that is also not good. There need to be some kind of balance somewhere. So we need to find out our balance based on our own experience, our own or reactions we get from others and things like that. If we like to improve, if you don't care about others, then you go with the consequences, whatever it comes. But if you want some good reaction, these things, like an example I was giving, that going to a shopkeeper, they are also misbehaving with this thing. So means that you need to correct your gestures, tonal quality, or something, or maybe ego. Don't project it at all, even by gesture, the way you enter and all those things. Maybe you have nothing wrong, but you just push the other customers out and try to enter, get the thing attention fast. You not said anything, but that is with shopkeeper taken into account, and they don't like that, the way you behave with other customers. Okay. So anyway, so basically, as I said, be alert and aware, if you like a successful communication. Next is about postures, your body orientation, So what kind of posture you will take? You put your hands on your shoulder, or put hands like this, or hands like this. So this postures and gestures, these are important. Even though you need to have the eye contact, but you also need to have some kind of respectable distance. If coming too close for any kind of communication, people don't take it. It's either threatening or intimidating. You see, sometimes, some kind of people who start abusing, or it's in the movie and all you can see. I cannot give any practical example. Somebody is some maybe underworld don is threatening somebody. They come into their face and say, "I'm telling you, I'll kill you, if you don't give my money back." Yeah? They bring their face too close to the other party and say, no, forgive me. So, and they went backward, and these people pounding onto that. So this feeling that if you bring your face too close to somebody, it shows that you are overpowering that other person. That is not a good posture. So be careful. If you ask about the thumb rule, one hand length away should be the other person, minimum. Not too far away where they cannot listen to anything. You have to shout to communicate, but one hand length away will be the good thing if you like to communicate something. That is, maintain that kind of distance, not too close. Okay, so that is a proximity, and so it's not too far away, not too close. That is the proximity up to maintain, but not too close. And then, if it is a verbal communication, verbal communication, but non-verbal part of the verbal communication, like tone, pitch, and loudness, these need to be controlled. Otherwise, people get offended. In nowadays, it happens that most of the things are video calling. So somebody may be calling from maybe another country, and you are in the video call. So the funny thing happens. Sometimes what happens is that, as we know that other person is calling from another continent, so our voice increases in the video call. We don't realize. Maybe we have the earphone, but we have to talk. Maybe nowadays all offices are cubicle offices. So unnecessarily our voice raises. You will not realize, but your colleague will realize. So even few times it happened to me also. Then one of my colleagues writing, "Please keep your voice down." Then I realize, oh, sorry. It is a funny situation, but it is disturbing. That's what I'm saying. So your loudness, you need to control it. No matter what. In the loudness, that also gives me another thing. Let me share with you. When we fight with somebody and all those things, or argue with somebody, why our voice raised? Why we raise our voice? Why we shout at each other, not talk? The reason is very simple. So, to whom we don't like, when by heart we feel they're much away. We feel that because that person may be enigmatic or something against me. So we shout at that person because by heart we feel they're further away. So our voice automatically adjusts to the higher loudness and higher pitch so that it reaches further. Even though physically that person may be 2 meters away, but we shout so that somebody at 30 meters away can also listen to, then hear it. On the other way around, if you see that if somebody is very close to our heart, even the whispering each other understands. So you can you see the lovebirds, means there are two lovers sitting in a bench of a park. Their communication not loud at all. Many few words here and there, both each other understands very well what the other person saying. Meant like that, and the voice is very, very mild, and even like in the stage of whispering even. Hardly anybody else can listen other than themselves, and whether they can listen everything or not doesn't matter. They understand each other very well. The purpose of communication is done. Finish. Why it happens? Why you don't need too much of words, too much of these things? We think the other person is very close to my heart. That feeling itself, the voice automatically get controlled, and you become, is toned down basically. So this happens. So it's a different matter that same lovebirds, when they get married, other neighbors also understand what's going on to their house. So that is a different thing. So in that particular time, that heart goes away, far away, and they start shouting at each other. Anyway, jokes apart, let's go to the next one. Okay, so there are few kind of what we just explained. So what are the advices given into this one? Let me see what are the things. Contact, listen, respond, feedback. Yeah. So this is now it is the advice. How you normally when in the external, I'm talking communicating with others, how you particularly do that? First, you establish the contact, like visual eye contact. Then you say greetings or verbal. That's a normal way to start it. Say nice to meet you or something of that nature. That's a greetings. Verbal greetings, even gesture, you can shake hand and all those things. Then maybe sit down, proximity level where the distance is not too much, you need to shout. Next part is listen to understand. So it is important, if you like to have a good communication, you have to be a good listener. So then you stop talking yourself, remove distractions. If the place is not good, then carry the conversation something, in office level, it may be some meeting room, something, or maybe if it is a crowded place, go and sit in a coffee shop or something. Like basically you are changing the environment so that there is remove any distractions and make them comfortable, listen. And then first you listen to the whole thing, whatever the other person need to say. Whether you agree, disagree, there is a different thing, but first you listen. Then you try to understand it. That is the model. So once you listen, try to understand the other party's point of view. So, and also it is being advised, don't worry about, your turn or something. When your time will come, and be patient. Like, don't unnecessarily jump into, okay, I wanted to say something. Don't jump the queue. Wait, your time will come, and that time you say. And be aware of your emotions. Make sure your emotion does not come and create a barrier, what we just discussed earlier. And consider other person's point of view. Before you put yours, you understand the other person's viewpoint. You may not need not to agree, but you need to understand. This particular quality is called empathy. Empathy means you fully understand other person's point of view, even though don't agree. If you emotionally agree with whatever, it's called sympathy. We are not talking about the sympathy. We are saying that you understand, that other person point of view. You may agree, disagree, or whatever. Because when you understand, then you'll be able to, do that next part, which is respond. Like, then whatever you give, it will add value, not reaction. You respond because it is coming from the empathy and coming from understanding, coming from your awareness. You are fully understand other person's point of view. Then you respond, very specific. Or you have to, suppose you are not clear, then ask some open questions to get more information. So if you give me a little bit more about that area, then it will help me to understand better. That will be the approach. Not the other way around. With this, how can I make any decision? You are not sharing much. This is a blaming. Avoid that. Yeah? Just be open, if possible, to get some more information. Then you respond. And then in the respond also, you have to follow certain level of etiquette. What are those? Be very slow to disagree or argue. Don't jump into your whatever part is not agreeable. Don't bring that first. Okay. Try to put those things first to what you agree, what part I agree. And also never criticize, condemn, or complain. As I shared that principle of, it is also life principle from learned from Guruji, Prem Nirmalji. He says, appreciate all, criticize none, walk your path, be Jivan Mukta. So that is the principle of the communication also. Appreciate all, no matter what it is. There will be something to appreciate about. If nothing, at least appreciate the time. Thank you for your time, given for the discussion with me. Thank whatever area you can think of. Criticize that. No need to criticize. So spiritually, how you deal with these things. Spiritually, when you go higher into awareness, we know the truth that nobody is perfect in this world. Everybody is so-called work in progress, including me. I am also work in progress. Everybody else is work in progress. So who am I to criticize that part, negative part? Every glass is half empty and half full. It is me who have to look into the full part, not to criticize the hard part. Even this particular aspect is true for that any relationship. The principle of relationship. The long-term relationship, it is sustained how much not so good qualities of others you can accept. Not how much good quality the other party is having. Okay, let me repeat. The long-term relationship does not sustain about how much good quality the other party is having. Or both way, the good qualities they have does not matter. What matters is how much of not so good qualities of other party you can accept. If you can accept not so good quality, everybody will have good quality and not so good quality. The degree of not so good qualities you accept, that will determine the longevity of your relationships. If you cannot accept, if you have a minor percentage, the relationship will not stay. So that's why we see high degree of divorces and all those kind of things, because everybody thinks they are right. They don't accept the not so good quality about the others. Anyway, but when you go to the level of the spiritual understanding, you come to a level where you can accept anything. Really does not matter. Because they say in the life, I'm just giving from which point of view the spiritual masters operate. He said, I come here to spend a little bit of time on planet Earth. Okay. Appreciate all, criticize none, walk your own path and be Jivan Mukta. What I just told Guruji's teaching. How does it matter if somebody is, not so good? It is not my responsibility to correct them. They have their own soul consciousness and they come here for a certain lessons in the art plane and they will get their lessons. Who am I to become a big custodian of the truth and custodian of the... Who has given me this authority to talk about others, or correct others? Better I should work on myself, appreciate whatever can be appreciated, be silent about what cannot be appreciated, and accept that part of it. Where the acceptance bigger I'm going to the level where I will be able to retain my peace of mind. I'll be at peace so that nothing can disturb me anymore. And that is the biggest achievement you can get. And also, I will not expect that everything what I touch upon be the gold. Not necessarily. We are not come here to deal with golds. Okay. We come here to transform whatever possible those negativities towards the positivity. We'll try whatever level possible. When my life goal once was that when I come to realize and all those things, if I say, out of my effort, if only one person's life, which is not related to me, not my responsibility, not directly into my family member or somebody which I am responsible, none of that. If somebody which is some unrelated person, because of my effort, because of my sharing, because of whatever, change only one person's life, elevated, I'm not saying complete 100%, like elevated from wherever they were and better. If I can change positively one person's life, purpose of my life is served. That is the goal I had. Now, Babaji is giving me more and more responsibility. That's a different thing. But that was the goal. And see, from where it comes, you cannot change something by criticizing. Okay. It's not possible. Communication definitely needed. Communication, one of the fundamental thing of conveying anything, even spiritual knowledge. What have been gifted to me, if I have to pass it on, I need to communicate. That is how it will go. If somebody, suppose any great scientist, lot of done scientific research and things, this and that, great discovery they made, but he didn't write any paper, not shared his knowledge to anyone, and one day he dies. All knowledge, whatever is gone with it. So how world will benefit out of this? There is no contribution. It is the same as useless as nothing has been done, no knowledge has been gathered and nothing, right? So the delivery part is also important. And there comes the communication bit. So it is important to know the skill of that communication. So now we'll go to the skills of communication, how to communicate. Okay. The aspects of communication, various areas we all discussed, and what is the way we should normally approach that we discuss. Now look at it in the totality, then we'll come to which is the preferred method. Okay, again, let me share with something. Okay. Now we'll discuss about the communication styles. Yeah, I'll share one picture, diagram rather. You can see my screen. See, there are two circles here, yellow circle and blue circle. Whatever your needs are. See, communication, basically, there will be two parties and their interest involved, no doubt about it. If you want to communicate, there must be some reason, no purpose of that communication. And both the parties involved, they will have their own needs. No? That's why the communication taking place. Otherwise, why people will communicate to somebody else? No? There is some purpose to be achieved. No? So, if there are two needs are there, that's a fact. Your need and others' need. Somebody else wants to join. Anyway. So, your needs and other needs. So, now, if you push your needs, only you push your needs, दूसरे को थोप देना, like you are putting your needs first. It basically comes from the ego. Then that kind of communication is called aggressive communication, where you don't care about what others' needs are. Your needs are priority, and you're putting all your needs into that communication. You don't want to listen to others. Yeah. This is called the aggressive communication. Somebody wants to join. Just 1 minute. Huh? Okay. I'll share again. Okay. Now if you, it is like, so that is called aggressive style of communication, where your needs are priority, others is, and if the others need, you give all the importance and your needs are subdued. So then this particular coin is a passive. Like you give all the importance to the others and your needs are, you cannot even utter that. Or you say, yes, 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 I'll do that, I will do, sure, I will do and all. So, aap khush ho jao, main kar lunga and all this. This kind of attitude is, the style is passive communication. Passive style of communication. Because you completely dissolve your needs and others' needs become the priority and the top priority, and they don't even doing that. No? So as aggressive communication, they get is a tiger approach, is attacking. And others' need is called passive approach, is a mouse approach, they call it. Animal, analogy. Both of them have, they are not being able to produce good result, or even if temporarily it get some result, but long term they don't. So what is the way? What is the way is that your needs and other needs, wherever the common ground, and if you settle into that common ground, that is called assertive communication. Assertive communication is a win-win, like both parties. Some of them you win, some of them you have to let go because you have to accommodate others' needs. Others also, they need to accept some of your things, and their need also have role into play, and then we agree onto something. Then that is called the assertive communication. It's called win-win. So this is a 3 style of communication: aggressive, passive, and assertive. So no need to say, it's very clear. The communication success depends upon how much is the overlapping we can do. More assertive area we can increase, that much successful that communication will be. I will, share another. I will share another picture, another table rather, to explain you that. Okay. I'm sharing another picture. It's a table. Just let me know whether you are able to read it or not. You can see the table. Okay. All right. So maybe I will post this picture into the group. You can just study it later also. Just let me say what it is. So you see that the left-hand side, that is a passive. So the column left-hand side is a passive qualities. And in the brown border, they said too nice. Yeah. And right-hand part is called aggressive. It is a mean-mindedness, like how to overpower others. But in the middle is assertive. That is a firm, like fair, and that kind of thing. So we need not to go into the first column, and also we need not to go to the second column. I'm sorry, third column. We have to agree on the middle part, which is assertive part. Few words are given here. That determines about that our the qualities of each category. So I'll just read it for the time being one by one, and then I'll post it in this picture into the group. We can later on these things. Some of the things let me read. So passive, these qualities are suck it up, hold it on, denial, subtle manipulation, guilt, shame, low self-esteem, powerless, latent hostility, weak boundaries, then passive, doormats, and needs acceptance, like a begging for acceptance. Please listen to me. These are the passive characteristics. Aggressive communication characteristics, they're mean, okay. Then their style is explosive, arrogant, oblivious, manipulative, self-absorbed, boasting self-ego, threatening, low consideration of others, tyrannical, put out of control, hostile, overboarding, attacking, dominate, needs power. So these are the characteristics of aggressiveness. But in the middle, machimpanta, assertiveness. What are the characteristics? They are clear messages, then I statements, and then broken record technique. Broken record technique is just like a repeating it, some important thing so that message is conveyed. Well-respected, self-accepting, self-aware, self-confident, powerful, comfortable, well-defined, clear boundaries, active, content, and self-sufficient. So these are the qualities of assertive communications. So as I mentioned, I will post it into the group so that you can study if you want for the further details. But this is the characteristics of that. Yeah. All right. Now let us. Time is running out. We have to go. So these are the communication style with others that we just explained, and communication with lower self and the mind level. Communication with mind level means it's like a pep talk, what we are talking to ourselves. So there can be some, basically we need to find out what is going on in our mind. So there are a lot of techniques called journaling, and also so that we know which level. We talked about PVF, that table. What is our overall score, whether we are neutral or positive, mostly negative, most of them love and above. In general, we are concerned about the humanity and trying to give our effort to the best to the humanity and all those things. This all depends upon the journaling. What kind of thoughts going on in your mind, we can write it down. There are journalism techniques that I explain separately. And today, no need to explain that, but there is a technique called journaling. You can do that. And also about our own gestures, our own these things. If you want to improve ourselves, there is a technique. What experts just say is stand in front of a mirror to practice that. So you can see that what others can see you. Normally, your expression, your things, you cannot. Your posture, the way you stand, that you don't able to see that, but others can see, and other as is there is importance wise that the percentages, so others can find out more. You are communicating more than what you just say. Those kind of things, to correct that, you need to find out how you are dealing with it and all. So in front of the mirror and all those kind of things, that that takes care of it. And the spiritual tool of this particular case is Sakshi Bhav, witness consciousness. When we learn spirituality, then the lower self becomes the object that we witness all the time. So that is called developing Sakshi Bhav. So that is called developing witness consciousness, so that your lower self, your mind, what is going on in your mind, what you are thinking, what kind of emotions is coming in you, how you are saying something, even you are interacting with somebody, your witness consciousness is on. You are witnessing about the communications. And this particular thing, when you develop that, then you can respond to any situation. You need not to react. Reaction directly comes from your ego. Even when your ego arises, the play comes, you can witness. So that is the Sakshi Bhav. So that way, I have given two, three practical things, journaling and mirror thing. But the spiritual tool have more knowledge about your own behavior, your own thought patterns, your own belief system, your own emotional baggage or whatever. Those you can witness, and by witnessing it, you can start working on it, and then you can control it finally. You can do the mastery on that, and so that your communication is well represented, more effective, and nobody will get some kind of wrong impression about it. Yeah. So this is the witness consciousness about this. Next is our communication with our higher self, which is our soul consciousness. See, our communication with our higher self start. Normally, the soul is in itself is a witness mode. I was talking about be a witness conscious Sakshi Bhav. Our soul is always at witness consciousness, and we have a free will contract with our own soul. That's why soul does not interfere. It knows everything. It knows all the answers. It has all the solutions. It's all kind of guidance it can be given, but not without asking. So to ask something, not only asking, the simple kind of prayers are also there, but response also you need to get. That's why the communication starts. It's a two-way communication, not one way. That communication develops when, spiritually speaking, when our throat chakra opens. So already we cross heart chakra, love and above frequency. Otherwise, unless until you vibrate more than 500, your heart chakra will not open. After that, you need to communicate first with your own soul consciousness. And that then the device, the throat chakra, when is activated. I'm not talking physical throat. I'm not talking verbal communication now. I'm talking communication with your own soul consciousness. So when we activated that through Kriya, we have the Kriya that can be activated. When the throat chakra is activated, then only communication with our own consciousness, soul consciousness starts. And first is establishing the contact with the soul. That is the purpose of spirituality. Spirituality is about connection with our own soul. That's the spirituality. First, establishing the connection. That's the throat chakra opening, that connections opens up. So then we get the connection. When we get it, the response we'll get only on asking. Unsolicited advice not given. There is only one exception to this, unsolicited, unasking. That is some of the things we do, like intuitively. Okay. Like some person, some small child maybe fall into a swimming pool and drowning, and you just suddenly jump and save that baby and take it back to the to give it to that child's mother, or, say this brain does not come into the picture, and this soul has taken this decision to jump and take action. This bypasses the mind completely. There is no time to decide and think whether it will be appropriate for me to jump, not to jump, what people will think, and all this nonsense has been taken aside. You just do it. Those are the intuitive actions that we do, that soul takes over. So in certain situations, soul takes over directly. They don't wait for your permission. But in general, most of the cases, they will not interfere, no matter what you are going to do. To have the involvement of the soul, we need to communicate, we need to request. So that is the second part. First part is connecting with the soul by throat chakra opening. Second is establishing the communication to and fro. You need to get answers as well. There is a second stage and third stage. Normally this third stage happens post enlightenment, that you surrender your free will to the soul consciousness, and live a life under direct guidance of your soul. Because soul is pure, it knows everything. So moment by moment, you will be guided. That is the last part of the soul communication part of it. So just to how to establish, first to open the channel, which is throat chakra, to connect, saying establish to and fro connections, and then to do that. In this to and fro connections, your mind space, your mind space will be used as a device through which the communication will take place. Like now we are communicating through the video call, and we have the medium is the device. No, I have a laptop here, you have a laptop or phone. So through that device, the communication is taking place. No? So the communication with our own soul, ourself, our mind space has been taken as that device. And as we know, the barriers of communication is a noise. So internal noise is our own thoughts. So we need to minimize the thought. Ideally, make zero thought. Then only the communication will open. If there is too much of thought in our mind, the communication will be distorted. We will not be able to understand what is the answer and things like that. Okay. So that part comes as one of the prerequisite, make the mind or thought free. That is a sadhana through meditation and all. And in higher vibration, it is easier to get control over thoughts. In the negative, if I vibrate negative, less than 250 is never possible. If you're in the positive territory, after effort, it is possible to make thought free through meditation and all this thing. But if you go to the 500 plus, then you will be easily able to control over your mind. You can make it thought free, and then the communication starts. The masters, they can instantly start communicating. They just switch off the mind and start communicating. Yeah, that's all possible. And that last point is about the divine communication. Communication with the masters, communication with the other dimensions and all. Even communication with our near and dear ones who had already left their body and they're in that dimension. Their communication with them, it is simple. We bring the intention of communicating with someone or some ascended master or something. And then it is their prerogative, of course. They choose whether they like to communicate, then use the same technique the way you use it to communicate with our own soul. Yeah? Use our mind space, the communication goes as a thought reading. So all the communication with the divine entities, even communication with Babaji happens like that. During the deep meditation, we go and make your mind thought free and request Babaji, please allow me to communication with me. Then when Babaji appears, gives his presence, most of the time the presence of Master felt like a different fragrances. So when you feel that Master presence is there, then you start communicating. Ask your question, wait for some time in your mind only. Next line, what is appears, that is answer. So like that, you go keep on question answer session and all those things. That happens with the higher. You choose to whom you like to communicate, and of course, other person need to ready to communicate also. Like a normal case, I like to say mobile call to someone, the person didn't pick up the phone. Communication will not take place. But it doesn't mean that technology is not available. So here, same like that. If we request some master and master is also willing, then instantly they can start communicating. So this is how the divine communications and all that take place. Yeah. And many of us in our groups also, they have different communications with the higher dimensional, different masters, different entities. And even some of them, our near and dear one, departed ones, the communication happened. And this is the way to communicate. So that is the higher dimensional communication, and this is the level. But the precondition is you have to make your mind thought free. We need to vibrate high, and we have to be in the attitude of gratitude. It should be all loving communication. That communication all loving. Yeah. If we have element of ego into it, it will not happen. So you have to first get rid of our ego, be humble, loving, and then intention, and then it starts communicating this way. All right. With this, we'll conclude our today's session. Let me save the attendance, and if you have any question, you can raise your hand. Then we can. Let me save first. Okay, Indranila, I'll come back to you. Let me just complete saving the attendance. Yes, Indranila, go ahead.
Yes, time is running out. I'll make it quick. See,
okay, if somebody has an urgency, they can quit, but you can ask. That's okay.
Okay. See, one of the dimensions of a clear communication is the quality of communication and the articulation of the communication, right?
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, what happens is I have observed a lot of people are low on self-confidence or self-esteem, which is why when they try to say something, it comes across in a totally different way, which is the reason you will find that at job interviews, it is often the quality which scores over the content.
Yeah.
So my question is, does it necessarily mean that these people have a low vibration?
Not really, because vibrationally they can high, but in this particular cases, what happened, your intellect matters. Your on-the-spot intelligence matters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you can bring it to the people to your fold if you are vibrating high. So it is an indirect way of influencing.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a very short time. Now you have to project whatever you know, whatever you can do, and a lot of things. Yeah.
Correct.
So here it is the impactful communication is needed. It is not total communication. It should be impactful.
Right.
It should be enough to keep the other party interested so that they are following subsequent questions, they get it whatever they want. But initial impact matters. And that particular thing basically comes from clarity of your mind. Okay. If my mind is clear, then I will not talk unnecessary things and definitely not boasting my ego. Basically, what can I offer? I will just project it very briefly.
Correct.
So that's how in the interview situation, that is what it is. Yeah. I have to think of how I can benefit the other party, the company I'm going to join. That's all.
Right. So nothing connected to vibration and all that, right?
No, nothing directly connected to vibration, but when you vibrate high, mental clarity emerges.
Got it. Okay. Second question is communication in the traditional approach, which I know is a two-way process, where you are communicating something and the other party concludes it by either accepting or rejecting whatever you're saying.
Mhm.
Now, when you are communicating with the divine, how does it work? Because you do not get a return feedback.
No, you do in the divine. You do the feedback.
Okay.
Okay, you sometimes it comes. It is none of your business kind of answer. And divine message just to share with you. The divine say, as for example, say Babaji, his message is very cryptic, few words,
Mhm.
but saying so, understanding comes everything.
Mhm.
Okay, and there are many cases. It happened that okay, let us keep the Babaji for the timing. Suppose you are talking to any departed soul from the other side, yeah.
Right.
Sometimes they scold you, okay, because it is it looks like that some unnecessarily question, that you should not ask, and you asked and you get the scoldings. It's not hanky dory and nice fine things all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
It is also there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Bonhim.
Pranam Rastita.
Pranam.
Rastita, one thing which is coming to our mind, for example, you said communication should be in a specific tone, but if someone communicates with the other person in an abusive tone, and maybe you're either colleague or your in your relative. So, how do you keep your self respect and at the same time put the boundary that this is it? After this, please don't communicate with me. Like, can you do that? For that, do you need your own level of vibration to be very high?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Okay.
Like for your with your colleagues and with your relatives, will it be the same way or
Okay.
will it be different?
Hmm. Okay. There are different levels of this. Let me comment. First of all, we need to accept the truth. From others, I have no control. So if you are expecting others to change their behavior, change their style, change their content, it will never happen. We are wasting time. It is just a banging your head on a wall. So keep it out of your, that from your domain. Like this will never happen.
Mhm.
So we'll
Okay.
have 100 types of people. They will have a different style, different things. So we cannot change them. And in fact, it is none of our business also to change them and things like that. What we can do, we can respond whatever is need to be responded in that particular place and leave it there. Okay, the living part is very important, because if our action or our words, depending upon their, the words and whatever they are saying, content of their things, then basically I'm allowing them to control my mind. So what we can do, we don't allow our mind to be manipulated or controlled by others, no matter what they're doing. Okay.
Mhm.
So in this case, you put your point in, that this is my point, and leave it there. No matter after that, shout, the jump, the this, and they say you are useless. No matter. It's their choice. We don't have any control. But you have to communicate our part, and we leave it there. No need to, pursue and things further. And we'll never. Self-respect is, I don't allow somebody, Tom, Dick, and Harry, to give me a character certificate. Okay. We don't expect that. Yeah.
Okay.
If they say, then automatically then. So this is about one level of answering.
Mhm.
Second level of answering is, it is, I call it a mirror technology. Okay. These kind of characters, we have to show the mirror. Okay. So that they can sense themselves. Mirror technology, we can apply mirror in front of them if I am not affected. Okay. I cannot put a mirror if I am affected. Okay. Means after they may be too much complaint, maybe 15 minutes they keep complaining. So then you have to not to lose your cool. He said, okay, that's your view, but I feel this way, and leave it there. Okay, no need to justify what you are saying, no need to challenge them and why you are saying that this is wrong. Basically, they are inviting a fight and you give in to that fight. So that's why you have to try to avoid. The Roosevelt said that don't fight with the pig. It's not that you will get dirty, and pig will like that too. Pig wants you to come down to the mud and wrestle with them. So don't allow them to have that pleasure of that. So you make your point, and if you just, okay, all right, that is your view. You have a right to the view. Give some kind of diplomatic answer and leave it. Then they will get the mirror, because the purpose why they are doing like that purpose will not be served. And that will be the answer, not what verbally told. So ruining their purpose, then same thing happens again and again, then this kind of thing happens. If I like to say shut up somebody, I will not say shut up. Rather, I give same answer repeating many times. Then fifth, sixth time, they know he will not get whatever they wanted, that they will give the same answer. Okay, so this is how you avoid dragging on and worsening any kind of situation from your side. Other side, let them do whatever, it does not matter. And now let us come to the third, the spiritual, part of it. See, what the masters, they look at it in the world, they find out that everybody is sleeping. They're unaware. Okay. If you are self-aware, then you can definitely see that many people, they are unaware completely. They are walking in the darkness, behaving like that and all, building lot of karma. No karma is going anywhere. Everything needs to be settled. So under ignorance, they are doing it. So they don't involve themselves just because they know that whatever they're doing out of ignorance. So they walk their path. They don't like to get into all this mess. They're aware there is a mess there. Okay. But intentionally, they don't go nearby. So good luck. You go ahead and find all the best to you. Don't create a challenging situation. There is no point. Let them win. Unless, of course, you have to protect your own self-interest, self-respect and things like that. But beyond that, if they like to win, let them win. So it's okay. So that is the approach if we take. And also another quality we need to have, that is a patience. The time creates an illusion that we think we are losing, we're this, that, and all those things. But if we're patiently watching, same like a quality of our own soul. Lot of turbulence happening in our life, but soul is watching. If you go to that level of quality, then that bad phase will also be, at one point of time, it will turn for sure. But we need to survive this period with our own patience. And those are the ultimately successful in life, who has that patience. Because all these things are meant for our own, strengthening our own selves. It is all these kind of factors at the soul level we have only chosen to be into that so that we can overcome them. We can learn the lessons and overcome them. If something is repeating in our life or dragging too long, means I have not learned that lesson. The moment I learn that lesson, then that situation disappears, somehow changes and something happens. So this is from the soul point of view. This is how we look at it. Life. There are three levels of looking at the adversities. First is that first level, when we laid from the lowermost level, we took it as a negativity. It is like a problem. It is like a trouble in our life. From where we need to raise up and take it as a challenge level. Like everything, what is adversity is happening, if we take it as a challenge, we do whatever best we can. That is and leave it there. Ma phalashu kadachana. That's a level we can go. Then we accept the challenge of life. We don't, fall flat and lose the game of life. Yeah. When you go to the spiritual level, then go one step higher. They find the opportunity into this adversity and make that opportunity, get them in the higher level. Same event, but the three approaches. First approach is, complaining, fighting, poor me. Next one is using that negativity to strengthen ourselves. And suppose you see that many stories in the childhood, somebody lost their parents and they struggle into their life. They can easily say, everybody has a parent, why not me? I'm getting shelter, I'm not getting their coverage, the earning and all this kind of thing, house. The struggle, but what the product they come out, that is the life challenges they have taken in the soul level. That challenge they want to overcome. Yeah. And then finally, the higher level, they take it as an opportunity. See, that I'm sharing that I had alcoholism and that kind of thing. Yeah. It was like a living hell when it has gone through and everybody is against me and all this kind of stuff happened. And then we come to the certain level where we can take it, strengthening ourselves. The resolve we need to take to overcome that. It should be so that I don't want to take that glass in my hand. It needs a big thing, a lot of power needed. So we achieve that power. When I look into now, why I'm saying opportunity, when I look into now from those events, what happened, like that 20 years back and thing like that, then I say that kind of thing happened. That's why I got opportunity. That's how I got become spiritual. Then I chosen the spiritual path. If I'm going nice and fine and there is no problem with my life, maybe I will never think of spirituality or knowing the truth per se or connecting with my own soul. There is no need. The trouble gives me the opportunity to look for the things, look for the avenue where I can grow, I can understand. A lot of questions I had, nobody in the world can give those answers. Then I was looking, searching internally. Then got it. It clicked. So the same thing, what troubled me, what, give me so much blame, so much thing, onto that, my life become completely unmanageable. From there, we somehow got to know the tools and strength, get help from others, try to find out what are the organization they did with it and so on and so forth. We had a different kind of community there. And from there, overall final product is become spiritual. And now, and the day I'm there, I can help others who are suffering still now into this alcoholism and all this. I fully understand the reason and way forward. So this then becomes a life purpose. I have a purpose now by the divine guidance. So that opportunity came from there. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the different level of understanding that the adversities we are facing our life. And in one sentence, if I may, the truth is our soul chooses it. Some part is, of course, our karma, to settle our own karma. Also, it is we get to purify ourselves, strengthen ourselves. For that, all this given. Amar Jyotiji says that no problem in our life comes. The power to overcome them is not to given with us to start with. It's we are born with that power. Only you have to unleash that and then project it into wherever it is necessary. All right.
One thing, Rasita, I just wanted to say is that I read in Ramakrishna that say that sometimes like you have to show that in Bengali we say that like you also have the fauna, shapir fauna, make other people understand that you also have the shapir fauna.
Yeah.
Just because you are humble, kind,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you are weak.
Correct.
How does
Absolutely.
this one justifies like what?
Yeah, you should be
How
harmless,
do I
but it does not mean that you should be submissive. You see, you have given the communication. Na? You should not be a mouse Like you should not be passive. Hmm. And neither you should be harmful, like aggressive. So basically, you need to communicate. You need to express that you are assertive. You understand other point, but you also have a right. That balance you need to project yourself. You have to talk about yourself. Means who else will know that? Your behavior, your things. That will be a message to the world.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. God bless you. All right. If as there is no further questions, so we'll conclude our session with the Shanti part. Om Sarvesham Swastirvavatu Sarvesham Shantirvavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhino Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkhavag Bhave Om Shanti 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 Om Mangalam. That concludes.